work for somebody, they say, you need to fill this sheet in this way. And you might disagree, but after very quietly mentioning your slight disagreement in a tactful way, you basically just get on with it and either feel resentful and think about a new job, or you just crack on. Whereas where you've got people who are appointed reps, obviously the whole basis of that is they're running their own businesses, they've got their own brand, they've got their own niche, and they've probably got some slight differences in sales process, and obviously those will diverge the longer they're appointed representatives and the more they get into whatever market they're in. So one of our first ARs is hugely active in the shared ownership market. That wasn't our traditional market. We got into it and it sorts very well through the credit crunch, and actually it's a really nice market to be in. But obviously his processes evolve based upon that market, based upon having to do those, initial phone calls and make sure that people fitted them, the affordability and fitted the HCA's requirements. Whereas that wasn't part of our model. So having an in-house compliance person meant that we were able to say, well, okay, we're not going to come up with the script, but let's come up with a checklist for you in this market that suits your market and suits your process, which might be slightly different from a checklist we have for person B who looks after a different market. And that was the rationale. And actually that's been something we've had ever since, because it is a really successful and good way of running a business, because this mortgages, even more so now when you've got the various hassles of lenders struggling with capacity and COVID and things, it's incredibly process led. So what you need is specific processes for people working in a specific way in specific markets. We'd have a different compliance process for somebody sitting in an estate agency office doing what both you and I were doing, 15, 20 years ago, from somebody who was buying in leads, working at home and doing things remotely. So it's important to have a compliance, I guess, enough compliance support to be able to create those structures for those people, because then everyone does things in the right way. And also you could say, if that was, you could say in the self-employed market, Rory, what you're asking for makes no sense, because actually for my people, most of my guys we're doing lending based on, let's say, retained profit in a business. So you saying that what I need is tax year overviews and tax calc, I understand the rationale, but actually for my business, really probably their accounts are very important. Or I've got a standard accountant's reference that I want to get created. On the flip side, if we were dealing in the kind of high net worth private banking space, you say, Rory, your proof of research doesn't mean anything to me, because I'm going out and getting bespoke head of terms from lenders whose rates are a good 0.5% to 1% more, but they can't go anywhere else. So what's the point in you asking me for my Tri-Gold proof of research, because the products aren't on Tri-Gold and it's irrelevant. So what we've been able to do therefore is start coming up with something where we can bespoke our regime to each person's business model.
That is really, really refreshing to hear. And it's not something I've ever heard. In 2018, my thought process, I've been directly authorized since 2009. So 2018 for me, I restructured my entire brokerage, and there was an element of which CRM system do I use? Yeah. Because like you said, process is absolutely key, and systems is what the FCA came in to look at your business around. And I'm a massive advocate of automation and speed. Yeah. But equally, it's like, God, I want to start recruiting advisors now. I've got too many leads. But actually being directly authorized with me, my admin and my marketing person, I don't want to get bogged down dealing with files. I don't want to get bogged down with, the check-in that you have to do as a DA organization. So I actually set up a separate limited company in 2016 underneath Primus. And you didn't come into my radar then. I know the owner of Mortgages First in Colchester.
Yeah.
So we played golf together, or you might know it as Elms Price Maston actually. Yeah. So I could play golf with Steve since I was kind of 15, although I don't play anymore. And he put me in through Primus because that's who they're with. And it was just that element of, actually, I realized the specialist market that we deal in, although I flew through compliance and all of that, Mortgage Pro came around at that point in time, I realized that actually, DA Life suited my business model better.